But I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot. But you're also very lucid in how you speak. There are prohibited areas. And then the previous night, so for today will be Wednesday. On Monday, Interior CS said particular things. And he said if we conform to those protocols, we're good to go. And look,
man.
The August House, apparently it's the house of the people.
Yes.
And for this is Greek and the Romans who came up with these stories from Augustus. You know, the Roman emperor. That said, why do MPs have guns? Sorry, and not only them. Why they now, as soon as you become an MP, you're licensed to carry.
Yeah.
And then you're also given security, who will definitely carry.
Yes.
Why? Before Esco answers. No, in your opinion. It's not
in my opinion, because to do that, to be an MP is to have power, and this power can then somebody who is not that into law might want to use this to effect something else. So it's, I assume that why they do it is because if you, for example, take an MP,
yes,
hold them, you know, you kidnap them, then you can effect changes that might not be for the people.
Esquire.
Yes.
I think MPs carry and then their bodyguards carry, because you know what? Some people might disagree with what it is that you do and say.
Yeah. That is also, of course, an option.
Good.
Yes.
So, Baba.
Yes.
When we breached the precincts of Parliament.
Yeah.
And then there was a reaction to an action. I'm sorry, but some would say that you asked for it. True or false?
That was a response, but I'm looking at, we have an act of parliament in this country called Prohibited Areas Act, Cap 204. And parliament is not one of the areas that is listed in that.
Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court is not one of them. What we have
is DOD and State House.
State House, there's state lodges like Ngugi, what
Nakuru,
we saw some of us,
and airports.
And airports and military training camps.
Bus.
And some of the stations, police stations.
But was it still okay, Baba?
What happened yesterday? I would condemn it.
What is the it that you condemn?
I would condemn the kind of force that was used.
To breach or the reaction?
The reaction by the police, because one, there are other ways of dealing with such events, and using live bullets.
Yeah, okay.
Is not one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And good answer there. I love it. It's very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, then let's go to the speech.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh, you know what? When he comes on, because we had this big announcement, he's going to come on and speak, and he's going to actually stand down and he's going to, concede in one way, shape, or form. No. He actually did what they call in Americanese, he doubled down.
And read the riot act.
Treason, criminal, and KDF. Those were the three main things. Wakili, for the layman, when he says now whatever happened yesterday happens again is a treasonous act. Is that not that's a phrase?
Quote unquote.
Yes. And today apparently was halftime. What does that mean? Treasonous act.
You know what I like about coming to this show is that you allow me to read the laws of Kenya and allow me to read the definition of what treason is under the Penal Code. This is section 40 of the Penal Code, and it provides that any person who, owing allegiance in the Republic in Kenya or elsewhere, compasses, imagines, invents, devices or intends, one, the death, maiming or wounding of the imprisonment or restraint of a president, or disposing by unlawful means of a president from his position as president.
Thank you. Now I need you to read that very slowly one more time.
There's that part I hadn't gotten to, which is the overthrow by unlawful means of the government. So, treason is any person who owes allegiance to the republic, and you either imagine, you invent, you devise, or you intend to one, the death, you imagine the death, or you devise the death, or you intend the death, or maiming or wounding of a president. 2, the disposing or by unlawful means of a president from his position as president.
So stop at number 2.
Yes.
That means that this guy must go. We are kwende. And nani F off. Does that not fit criteria on number 2?
Number 2, disposing. No. Because disposing, we used to this. Legally disposing is where, for example, you remove by force and someone is not in control. It's not the willingness of somebody saying, hey, I'm willing to leave.
So if we force you
resign.
to leave, if, for example, I come and tell you, Baba, leave, is that disposing?
No, what are you doing? You know, Esquire is very good. And that's why, he's not, he's a sharp pencil.
Yeah.
Just ask him a very solid question.
Yeah.
And Kenyans just want to know the answer is this. Of all the matope that people have spoken,
Yes.
is there any sentence that anyone has said that defines that particular cap, clause, whatever
That
the hell
is
is talking about?
treasonous. Exactly. So, has anything been said that is treasonous?
Well, what from this act, what may have been from this act,
Hey,
what may have happened is we have imagined. We have imagined.
Okay.
what is imagining? Because, me, I imagine many things. I may imagine myself with Rihanna. I don't know who you imagine yourself with. Who?
Listen to this second part. Part B of the act of treason is where you express, you utter, you declare any such compassings, imaginations, inventions, or intentions by publishing any printing or writing, or by any overt or deed is, you qualify for treason.
Thank you. So, putting on Mutandao,
Yes.
that's your Twitter. Or I'd rather you call it X. Okay? Or you put, that thing that you do when you do those skits, that you know what... Imagine the bosses, because now whatever I might utter now can be, it's now treasonous because he said it yesterday. This is the broad spectrum. So, in terms of what a lot of Kenyans are doing right now, they fit that definition of treason. What are the consequences and repercussions of the same?
I do not agree with you that Kenyans they fit in this. Okay? Because fitting is when you express the death or the wounding or maiming.
Go to the third one, he said.
The third one was overthrowing by unlawful means.
No, but imagining and then publishing,
But have you expressed and said, you know what? Here's a printout. This is a process
Of killing him.
of killing or maiming or one of those events.
Okay.
And said after doing that.
The one of imagining?
So
You need to imagine, then you have to express.
there's something in law we call qualification of any crime. We call it either for you to qualify to have committed a crime.
For the first time,
There's actors
Wakili is
reas.
totally Gen Z.
There's actors reas and mens rea. So mens rea is when you think about a crime. So for example, the crime of murder, which is a capital offense, just like treason, for you to qualify to have committed that offense, the judge would ask you, would try and figure out, is there any evidence that can prove that you thought about it? You planned, premeditated it. So maybe there were posters, there were plans, there was communication, emails.
I have as Esquire.
Yes.
I have a girlfriend called Wanjira Bobo. Hope you're listening. You said I'll not mention you. There, yeah. And since yesterday, she's like, no. You know what? The boss must go. Okay. And you know what? If the boss doesn't go, if he doesn't stand down, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4.
Let me ask.
And that has been mentioned. So we're about to go live to State House. Are you saying, so for the people who are now basically sitting loose like a goose, no one has even been close to treason in terms of their speak?
If anyone,
can you see the screen?
If anyone was close to that, then the likes of our opposition leaders will be in prison. You know, we have always said.
But they were. It's just that
Previously.
Kibaki and Uhuru were a bit loose.
No, there was a statement issued by the deputy.
Even the Penguin, your former prime minister.
Apologize.
He was charged for treason, you know, and that was 82. Are you saying no one? So we can continue speaking, and please advise them accordingly, Esquire. Kenyans can still continue talking like they feel like.
You can say the president should leave. You know, we have
Yote yawezekana.
Yes, we have a provision under the constitution on the freedom of expression. Again, which is innate. We have been given that authority to express ourselves. If we are not happy with a leader, we can express it and say we should leave the office.
And that's only if you have a wakili like Esquire. Now, then we're going to go into commercial break. Then when we come back, I'm going to ask you one question. What does it mean? Oh, okay. No break. What does it mean? Because, Lorc, are you good with that?
Yeah.
You are a man of the street.
Yes.
Even somebody who maybe you don't walk around with
an Esquire.
like this one.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good that I actually know him. I'll just, Esquire.
Yes.
Ngori.
We shall reverse call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, so, Esquire, now that is treason. What does it mean as a society when a president deploys KDF?
Well, I'll take you to the Kenya Defence Forces Act of Kenya, which under Section 31 gives instances where you can deploy KDF. And allow me to read that. And so it provides that under Section 30. 31, it says, the defense forces shall assist and cooperate with other authorities in situation of emergency or disaster and report to the National Assembly whenever deployed in such circumstances. So, only in situations of emergencies or disasters can we have the deployment of the Kenya Defence Forces to cooperate with other authorities. So,
Lorc, are you going to ask him the question?
Second part is, allow me, maybe they may also be deployed to restore peace in any part of Kenya affected by unrest or instability, but only with the approval of the National Assembly.
So clearly, now let's not talk really about number 2. Let's talk about number 1. Let's go back to number 1.
Emergencies.
And security.
Did yesterday fit the bill?
No.
Really?
There's no emergency. That would have happened during the floods.
That was an insurrection yesterday.
That would fall under Part B, which talks about
Restore peace.
Restore peace. And the provision is that under the approval of
the government, of the parliament. Yeah.
So is that why they rushed it? What were they rushing to do this morning then? Is it what he was looking for this morning?
That's what they were going to do.
This morning.
Yeah.
Which
has it passed?
It's
passed.
Yeah, it was passed. But this is the question then. The Gazette notice came out yesterday. Parliament approved it today.
Before the fact?
Yes. After the fact. So how do you gazette something that hasn't been okayed? And suppose Parliament had said no. What then happens to this Gazette notice?
This is not the very first time this is happening, where we gazette things.
By the way,
and I know there's a petition that has been filed today about it. Whatever that was done yesterday, you gazette without the approval. So there's a petition that has gone to...
By you people, Lama Kinomtata.
It's in the process. Yeah.
Esquire, I've got to ask you. I mean, Lorc.
Yeah.
By the way, and yourself. Esquire is here. We're in very torrid times, by the way. The president's about to go live again. He went live last night and he said a lot. But what are your concerns? What are you thinking? If you've got a question, what do you got to do?
SpiceFM KE on X, Facebook and Instagram, or just call in on 0719-012-600.
He's here for you. Your wish is his command, and he will basically break it down like he's been breaking it down for you. But you know what? How do you feel, by the way, and honestly, Wakili? They all take an oath. He's got the sword. He's got the badge. And you know this guy could clearly get himself out of a rabbit hole backwards. What would you do? And I've been asking this of anyone who I've spoken to since Jana. If you are sat there.
As a president.
Thank you.
It's treasonous.
Oh, you can't imagine.
You're imagining now.
Then I am definitely. Okay. But anyway, let's imagine. But we're not.
Okay. So that wow. What next for this guy? What do you think? Because it's 2027. Me, I've told people it's a no sum game. All right. You guys are like, yeah, these guys are eating. You've got to eat with dignity. But you know what? Whether you like it or not, it's until 2027. Joe Biden is a guy who not anorexia. Look at what did I say? What is it? Dementia. Has got that nigger a good one, but they still want to push him for 4 more years. What next for His Excellency? Is it until 2025 we don't have an IBC? Even if you want to impeach and recall, there's so many facets of that gap that if he wanted to impeach, can we recall an excellency? And I want to say excellency, we're talking about a president of a republic. How does one do that as a citizen? Well, where Omtata is sitting right now? How does he start that process?
That's a whole conversation.
Yeah.
We could have for quite a long process, but it involves collection of signatures. We have to get approved by IBC,
which is not currently constituted,
which is not properly constituted. And so it's a long process that has to go.
Okay, no, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But before he speaks, in terms of that thing he has said now at the finance bill has been recalled, he's about to go to State House. What next for the president as far as that finance bill is concerned, Baba?
So under Article 110, and you can see my constitution is falling apart.
It's been used extensively.
Yes. So the president has had 3 options to either send back.
Which is done.
He has done it. He could reject. And so once he sends it back, Parliament has another period of time to consider his comments, or they could ignore his comments. So they are going to choose either. So they could debate his comments and agree with those comments, or they could refuse. And once they refuse his comments, they need to get 2/3 of the number of parliamentarians during that sitting to pass.
By force?
Yes, they will pass it. And then it goes back to the president.
Oh, right now it's now 2/3. Nice when the 2/3 majority
provision
comes
is
in.
2/3. Let me even confirm to you. Yeah, once it goes back, it needs 2/3 of members of parliament.
Oh.
And I think Janet was 193 to 101 or 106.
Yeah,
106.
Yeah.
Is that 2/3? You know what does that? Huh?
But it's 2/3 of all the members of parliament.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's like half. To 196.
Let's say 200 to 100.
Yeah.
That's 2/3.
No, right?
So
Oh yeah, but it's not meeting the threshold. And then if it doesn't,
So this is Article 115. So we could either, the president refers the bill back for consideration by Parliament, and then they can either amend the bill in light of the president's reservations, or pass the bill a second time without amendment. And upon passing that bill without amendment, if Parliament would choose not to get the amendments, so we, on their own motion, decide, let's have it go, then by 2/3 of members of National Assembly. So they need 2/3.
Okay, so you're spoken. Let's listen in to what the
escalating cost of essential household commodities, high fuel prices, rapid depreciation of the Kenya shilling, and spiraling public debt were threatening to ground our economy. My administration has worked hard and consistently so that today the prices of essential commodities like unga have dropped from 240 shillings for a 2-kilogram packet to Kenya shillings 100, majorly attributed to our fertilizer subsidy program, the resilience of our farmers, and good rains that were given to us by God. During the period, we reduced the price of fertilizer also from 7,500 to 2,500. Petrol prices have come down from a high of 217 to now 187 a litre. The shilling has strengthened against the dollar from a high of 165 to now 127, 128. We have made significant progress in pulling the nation back from the brink of debt distress. Our debt situation is better managed, and our budget now has space for investment and in programs aimed at easing the hardship on vulnerable people and creating opportunities for our young people. Our GDP grew by 5.6% last year, ranking Kenya among the 27 fastest growing economies in the world. Our inflation figures have fallen from a high of 9 and 8 in May last year to 5% in April this year. It is instructive for the nation to know that for every 100 shillings we collect as taxes, we spend 61 shillings in debt service. We have paid Kenya's Eurobond debt that was borrowed in 2014 of $2 billion that has been hanging around our neck. We paid the last installment of $500 million last week. Today, Kenya's debt burden is much less, more sustainable, and we are on course to redeem our country from the discomfort of debt and assert our sovereignty. Early this year, Treasury had proposed a budget of 4.18 trillion. I did direct that it be reduced by 200 billion to come down to 3.99 trillion. The Finance Bill 2024, generated to actualize this budget, underwent public participation, which resulted to concessions by which we agreed to drop proposals on VAT on bread, motor vehicle circulation tax, VAT on locally manufactured diapers and sanitary pads, as well as excise duty on money transfer services, among others. The additional tax measures we had proposed in this year's finance bill were to raise money in the tune of 346 billion. When the concessions were made, subsequent to public participation that was undertaken by Parliament, that came down to 200 billion. I had made this proposal taking into account our situation and the priorities that are there. I want to thank the members of Parliament seated behind me and those who voted yes for identifying the priority areas of our nation. Because when I made the proposals to Parliament with my cabinet, we had certain critical priorities for the nation. Number one is our agriculture. We did make recommendation, and part of the money we were going to raise from the finance bill was 10 billion shillings that will go to fertilizer subsidy, 18 billion shillings that would go to making sure that junior secondary school teachers, 46 of them, 46,000 of them would be confirmed on permanent and pensionable basis. We are very clear in our minds that education being the greatest equalizer, no child in Kenya should go to a school where there is no teacher or where there are no adequate teachers. It is because of that reason that in this finance bill also we had committed to hire an extra 20,000 teachers. We also had envisioned, because of the program of last mile connectivity to homes, especially in rural areas, we had committed 14.5 billion shillings, 50 million for every constituency for the last mile connectivity. Because we realize that there are many people who today cannot go to hospital because they cannot afford, because they have no health insurance. We had committed 6 billion shillings to operationalize our universal health coverage plan that would make it possible for every citizen to have a health insurance, those who cannot afford to be paid for by the government of Kenya, and to also operationalize the chronic illness fund that would make it possible for those who suffer from cancer, diabetes, hypertension, to be able to go to hospital, be treated, and go home without being asked for any money. We also had planned to put in money for our coffee farmers to retire the heavy debts that are bedeviling our coffee farmers. We also had allocated money for our sugarcane farmers to make sure that our sugarcane farmers get out of the debts that they're in. We had also committed to our milk farmers 2 billion shillings to make sure that every farmer is paid a minimum of 50 shillings per litre, to make sure that these farmers, very hard-working citizens of our nation, get a fair return for their hard work and for feeding our nation. And that is why I commend these members of Parliament for agreeing with us that all the priority areas I have mentioned were the right priorities to be funded. And by so doing, they supported the proposal to incorporate also the views of the people. These members of Parliament came back to us after they went to listen to the people of Kenya, and they came back and reduced the budget on their own by 146 billion shillings. Notwithstanding all these concessions, it has become evident that members of the public still insist on the need for us to make more concessions. And because I run a government, but I also lead people, and the people have spoken, I am grateful to all the members of the National Assembly who voted yesterday affirmatively for the Finance Bill 2024 as amended on the floor of the House to incorporate the views generated through public participation. And following the passage of the bill, the country witnessed widespread expression of dissatisfaction with the bill as passed, regrettably resulting in the loss of life, destruction of property, and disintegration of constitutional institutions. On my own behalf, and on behalf of these members and many other Kenyans, I send my condolences to the families of those who lost their loved ones in this very unfortunate manner. Consequently, having reflected on the continuing conversation around the content of the Finance Bill 2024, and listening keenly to the people of Kenya who have said loudly that they want nothing to do with this Finance Bill 2024, I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 Finance Bill, and it shall subsequently be withdrawn, and I have agreed with these members that that becomes our collective position. Accordingly, there is need for us as a nation to pick up from here and go into the future. And I am therefore proposing that because we have gotten rid of the Finance Bill 2024, it is necessary for us to have a conversation as a nation going forward. How do we manage the affairs of the country together? How do we manage our debt situation together? How do we work on the budget with the deficits that now exist together? And as I committed last Sunday, I will be proposing an engagement with the young people of our nation, our sons and daughters, for us to listen to them. As I said on Sunday, listen to their views, listen to their proposals, their ideas, their concerns, and what they think we should do better as we go forward. I am also recommending a multi-sectoral, bipartisan, multi-stakeholder engagement from civil society, religious organizations, professional bodies, for us as a nation to speak to the future of our country, again, together. And this will be on matters that are contained in the bill and matters that the people of Kenya have canvassed in the conversation that has been going on. In this regard as well, I am directing for immediate further austerity measures to reduce expenditure, starting with the Office of the President, the entire presidency, and extending to the entire executive arm of government. Operational expenditure in the presidency be reduced to remove allocations for the confidential fort, reduce travel, hospitality, purchase of motor vehicles, renovations, and other expenditures. This will cover the entire presidency and also the executive arm of government. I also propose that equally, Parliament, the judiciary, and county governments, working with the National Treasury, also undertake budget cuts and austerity to ensure that we do live within our means, respecting the very loud message that is coming from the people of Kenya. And let me confirm that I have discussed with many stakeholders. I will be meeting some of them shortly after this meeting on charting a way forward that makes sure that we carry the whole nation in this very important journey as we go into the future as a country. Let me also confirm that as we deal with austerity, the loud message on dealing firmly, decisively, and expeditiously with corruption is a matter that we have discussed and we have agreed that it will take the front burner as we go into the future. We will continue to do this and carry out this very important conversation. And I want to remind us that we should proceed within the foundational principles upon which our nation is founded, namely constitutionalism, adherence to the rule of law, and respect for constitutional institutions. We must continue to operate within the parameters of the law. I thank you. I will take a few questions, 3 questions to be specific.
Thank you, Your Excellency. All right, so there we have it. And we just come out live from State House. His Excellency, the President, William, of course, Ruto, has come out and he says, well, the big thing there, Finance Bill 2024 withdrawn. And I don't know, Lorc also said that they're going to cut expenditure, no figures.
Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm. But State House, travel, the ones there, let's call them big ticket, big item issues.
Yes.
Was anything there news to you, bro?
Yes, the cutting of the withdrawal of the bill was initially, it was reported that it was sent back to the Parliament.
Right.
So I'm assuming, and that's why he will perhaps enlighten.
I like that. He's gonna enlighten us on what that exactly means.
I'm hoping withdrawal is meaning we have discarded it, so we start afresh.
Sharp.
2, that he has actually acknowledged that there has been a lot of expenditure in his part, and that is on the foreign travels and the luxuries and the renovations and motor vehicles that he actually already purchased. So I don't know, but he said they're going to be cut down.
But no figures.
No figures, of course.
So, like I repeat, Baba.
Yeah.
As an intellectual.
Uh-huh. Is any of this of this news? Yes. I didn't expect him to do this, but I'm glad he's done. And power to the people, because this is what they wanted. Now we can have that conversation and start afresh and go on.
Now the thing about this is that during in the interim, as all that was going on, and you've got a good lawyer when he's listening and taking notes
Listening, taking notes, and referring.
So it's been very busy. So you said before we had that he had sent it back. Then now Eliud Wakili, it has been withdrawn. What exactly for the lay person? I was about to say layman.
Yeah, lay person.
What does that mean?
It means that for the proposals that were being made, you see, the Finance Bill Amendment Act comes in to amend the current Finance Act.
Sharp.
And so the Finance Act already has a way of collecting. We have, for example, for the layman, we have KRA that collects every year.
Bas.
And once they collect, they put it in a pool, which then is appropriated. But this money that is appropriated is never enough. And so they amend this Finance Act. It has been a tradition, almost every year, every financial year, they amend it and they come to you and say, now we have these needs, so we wish to allocate or to increase, for example, the collection.
Yes.
And this increment then comes and affects you as a mwananchi. And therefore, if, for example, what we had been proposed, doubling VAT on fuel from 8 to 16%. So once you double that, you have increased what you did not have.
That's why every department in government stems to spend their allocation by the end of that financial season, so that you get more, not less, in the next financial season.
Yeah.
But Esquire, now for again, I need you to dumb this down.
Yeah, withdrawal and sent back. Badas just nini. I'm still at loss.
So there are three options. I had said earlier on. He could assent, he could send back, and he could now withdraw.
Okay.
And so he has chosen that option of withdrawing the bill instead of assenting it, signing it into law. He has said, no, this one, we are not going to sign it.
Now, Esco, let me ask you, like any LLC, public liability company, you have to release a financial statement at the end of every financial year. We come to the end of the financial year, like you said, at the end of this week. Where does that leave the country? Because then our financial statement come the beginning of the next financial year. There's none.
There's none.
So where are we?
We are in this situation where previously, if this bill was assented to,
it comes into play.
It becomes effective 1st July. July.
Yes.
And this would have meant the increments that were going to be added. And that would have been effective. So, for example, if today they were to say that you pay...
Lorc, did you know they're going to enforce VAT more on your speakers and headphones? Did you know that, bruh?
Yeah.
That is why you are saying no.
For various reasons. Headphones being one.
So if they were
Even
going to...
mobile phones, yeah.
If they were going to do it, then the price would have gone up. Or you are expected, because...
From Monday next week.
So if there was
consignment
a consignment coming into the country,
and you bought it today,
at the port, you are told you are paying more. So that's what would have happened. And so now it will not happen. So we have to... You are left with, let's say, 1,000 shillings in your pocket, and you are hoping that there will be a way to maybe call a few of your debtors, or maybe a few of your debtors who owe you money that they should have paid you from, let's say, tomorrow. And we call you at midnight and tell you, no, things are tough. We are not able to increase. You see that fee that we had agreed on paying you for your DJing services, we are not able to increase it to X amount. That's what has happened to Kenya.
So status quo now maintains.
Status quo is what we have in our reserves. What KRA collected is what we have to utilize for the time being. So
ideally, and Wakili, and obviously, the thing about you is you. I don't know how many compassionate lawyers you know, Prof.
Not many.
Is this, and let's forget the emotion and what has happened in terms of a financial statement. Is this a good or a bad thing? It's never happened. He took a deep breath.
You see, the reality is we owe money.
Thank you.
We have debtors as a country.
Yes.
We were hoping to be able to pay back. And this conversation would have been avoided, or this event of yesterday would have been avoided if some of those proposals had not even been put there, or when they push during the public participation, which is provided under Article 10 and even Article 1, that the people are sovereign. Then Article 10 of our Constitution says that public participation is a key function of our laws, that you need to invite people to come and participate. If during that period where we were calling people to come to the different platforms, a parliament was sitting in a hotel and telling people, come and bring your comments. There was that advertisement in the newspaper that invited members of the public, and I know a few of my friends who sent, even LSK, we sent our feedback. If they had listened to us at that point, then we would have avoided what has happened, or rather, that happened yesterday. Because if they saw that and the committee reconstituted, took that retreat and went and said, okay, most of the members are saying, let's not allocate this much to the office of the first lady and the second lady, all those issues. Let's not tax bread. If they had considered everything, then would have been able to avoid what has happened. And there were some of the proposals which were good. It wasn't 100% bad. There were good things in that finance bill. But the bad things were more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Lorc, you agree with that?
Yeah.
I can see you're gagging to say something.
Yeah. But this is now the question. KRX still continues to collect, yes?
Yes.
That doesn't
You're
stop.
still supposed to pay under the law.
My 16% VAT, my payee, my whatever still continues to... In fact, on Monday, when it comes to the second, the tax that from hotel, because I am in the hotel industry, that is still remitted. Does it mean that we are entering a place where there will be expenditure with no accountability because we didn't say this is the amount of money that is going to X?
No. There is an appropriation that has been appropriation bill that was passed hurriedly.
That's a damn good question.
It happened yesterday, which appropriates the where to.
Let's be clear, because people don't. There's a difference between the appropriations, and Ken Mujung was here and he broke it down. A nice one. You know, this appropriations bill and what you see that they're presenting to Wabungi are two
different things.
Yes.
Different things. Esquire, what is the appropriations bill? That's one where they write down figures like, I want exactly 192,000 a month so that I can wash Lorc's underwear. That's appropriations bill.
I would take you back to something we've said several times when I've come here, which is, for example, the judiciary is allocated 23 billion. The executive is appropriated now. So they are allocating sums of money. And so that already happened yesterday. Hurriedly, it was passed. But the finance bill is under something totally different. And under the Constitution, we call it the money bill, which is to try and now increase some of this. And it's the mandate of the National Assembly to discuss that.
Okay, so you know what? And he's dissecting it. He's breaking it down. We had him in studio not too long ago. I think it was last week but one. And he was on the phone yesterday as well. He's an activist. He's been on the streets. My man, my brother Benji Ndolo's on the phone. Let's talk to Benji.
Kwach, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, brother.
Man,
how are you?
This is what I want you to do, Kwach. I'm fine, even before you ask me a question, Kwach. You have me on tape yesterday. You have me on tape 2 weeks ago in studio. I want you to look at the president's message today and look at it from the context of my tapes with you. That's how you judge competence.
And you predicted it.
That's how you judge competence. So, Kwach, in the interest of full disclosure, I have worked as a special advisor, media and communications in the presidency under a different regime. Kwach, I offered myself very, very candidly to really help Uhuru when he was president. Now, you cannot have a country where you have complete anarchy. The president has overthrown the constitution in the sense that the Chief Justice's office is not functional. You cannot depend on the AG, Attorney General. You have low allocations to the Auditor General, so to facilitate their work. You have magistrates and police killing each other, okay? So you cannot have a country like that where then if people come out and armed and there's deaths, the president comes out at night and says that he's going to go for people for treason. You cannot run a country that way. You cannot run a country that way. So if the president didn't do this today, from everything I'm hearing, he was going home by Friday.
And
country.
And Benji,
This is a country.
and I'd heard that a lot, by the way, on the street, Esquire. You're hearing this conversation, you've heard this sentiment, but and we obviously now he has told us about what next with this finance bill 2024. But Benji, Esquire?
How can it get here?
Once again, how do you
get here?
How do you remove a president?
I mean,
it's a long process.
By popular.
And so we have to collect signatures. They have to be verified by.
How many? 1 million? 2 mic? 5?
Allow me to get you the
Benji?
specific section.
And then
listen. I'm not here for constitutional law.
Yes.
What I'm telling you is, if you occupy, I need you to understand what I'm saying. If you mobilize 4 or 5 million people in the street, it's not tenable.
So Benji,
I've found it.
I've been saying this before things got hot, before the first demo.
No, hold up.
So Benji, we will not occupy State House. Article 145 of our Constitution just provides that a member of the National Assembly, supported by at least a third of all members, may move a motion for the impeachment of a president. And there are grounds given, either gross misconduct
there is no IBC
or
in
gross
place.
violation.
There's no IBC in place.
There's no IBC in place. That's why I said, you see, for me, I'm too fast for these lawyers. I said the president has overthrown the Constitution, and I choose my words very carefully. There's no IBC in place. And to be honest, there is also no parliament. Parliament is emasculated. It is not the parliament envisioned in the Constitution, and all this is by design. Uhuru began it, and Ruto has perfected it. So what we need to do, because this is valuable national airtime, is we need to be doing shows where Kenyans are getting educated. We're not in class. This is not academic. This is, Kwach, I'd like to refer you to my tweet on Monday, where I sent a tweet to the United Nations. This is a written piece of evidence. I copied the White House. I copied Ambassador Meg Whitman, who literally left the country yesterday in the middle of chaos. So I sent them without capacity, I'm not holding any portfolio, and I said, guys, we have a problem, and you need to look at what's happening tomorrow. We must have leadership. Leadership is not reacting when lives are lost. It's the opposite. It's doing everything to save lives, to uphold the Constitution as per Article 3.1, to call it what it is. When you see wastage, when you see theft, it's not to react after Sudi's club has been brought down by all the youths that are now fighting in Eldoret. This is the point.
So, let me ask you, Benji, but what next? And this is, I'm going to go back to this gentleman, that if something had to give, but was it as far as one has to step down from where you're coming from?
I told you yesterday.
Look.
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes.
That one has to step down?
Yes.
Ideally, in a proper democracy, that should have been.
No. Benji, tell your fellow natives that there's no African country that works in a proper democracy. No.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I don't think that was ever going to happen. But yes, I would have loved it to happen.
Yes, but we can never say never.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes you do. It's an honorable thing to do. And I'm really sorry to say this on air. Okay,
Yeah.
this is a president that was in the ICC. Can you believe this?
No, but Wakili, are you there? Can you hear?
Mm-hmm.
And Bien, and I did say this, Benjindolo, you know, that, you know what, we have got somebody who has been to the ICC and back.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we're in a stage where, you know what, utafanya, I don't care.
No.
Benji,
No.
but thank
No,
you.
no, no, no.
Uh-huh.
No. This is our way towards ICC again. We must grow as a country. Back when we got these cases, we didn't have the new constitution because all this ICC mess began in 2007.
Which is true.
And the charges came down in 2009.
Right.
All we need to do, and I tell these leaders all the time, I tell them privately and I tell them publicly, if you could just respect the constitution of Kenya, this would be the greatest country.
I love it, brother.
Right now, what we have is an overthrow of the constitution. It is extremely disturbing. Kidnappings, you know.
Okay, Benji,
killings.
yes, we hear you, brother.
Yes, it's unacceptable.
Thank you so much.
Unacceptable.
Benji, Mr.
Unacceptable.
Dolo, thank you so
Thanks
much,
for
brother.
having me.
Keep it spicy. Wakili. All of this, and they say Gen Z don't watch TV, but they're on the mutandaos.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke about that club in Eldoret, and look, I saw bottles of whiskey
Yes.
worth 450,000 bob. Done and dusted. Is civic education important in terms of not only what's in a bill, but the party than the role that your party plays or your MP plays in this whole process?
It is very important. And one of them, and we have seen it happen, it's quite difficult for any of us to be able to maybe raise an issue with, from a point of no information. And what we have seen from the Gen Zs, they have grown up watching TV, they've grown up with computers.
Yeah.
They understand the processes. They have been maybe active citizens, or rather, this is proof that now we have active citizens who now know the stages what stages the bills are at and the effects of those bills.
Yes.
We also understand the mandate given to our members of parliament, because a member of parliament is supposed to represent the people. They are not supposed to be seeking allegiance to the presidency. No, they go in there because they represent you and I who live in a certain area, and they should come back to us, listen to the people on the ground, and communicate that voice from the ground or in that constituency when they are voting. And now that has come out, and civic education is quite important.
Thank you.
For us to be able to keep them accountable.
Because, you know, Akili and Lorc, I don't know, you know, I shared this, Esquire, because some of the things that, because we were like reject, remember?
Yes.
And I was like, but I looked at some things that were on that same said bill, okay? And amongst them, and I saw this, I don't know, look, I highlighted them the other day, all right? Here we go. Guys, a national government, okay, CDF, which is,
Constituency Development Fund.
there we go,
Yes.
of 62.3 billion, okay, with each constituency getting between 160 and 180 million shillings. Our police school infrastructure will get a new look across the country. What do you have to say about that, Baba?
Now that this has been withdrawn.
No, so let's talk about some of the benefits, and then another one. Country aggregation. Now, every county would have an industrial park. Even the counties like yours. Where's your shags again?
Omambe.
Which you know you have nothing, and that industrial park would be built for 4.6 billion shillings. 071
So can I-
012
Yeah, very nice.
Because we got Ken Mujung on the line. You want to talk to Ken first, or
Let's talk to Ken first.
Good evening, Ken.
Hi, Edward.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I think if a lot of Kenyans didn't lose their life yesterday, I would be celebrating this right now.
Oh, wow. It's
But
a win.
there's nothing to celebrate. There is nothing to celebrate.
No, but Ken, you said if people didn't die, but this would have been a win.
Yes, it would have been a win if Kenyans took back their power under Article 1 and were able to push for change, and that change happened. Then we shall have known that Kenyans have become of age and they can speak loudly and their voice will be heard. And that they want to be led by people who listen to them. So it would have been a win if people didn't die. Do you know my instant reaction to what the president has done?
Is too little, too late.
It's too little, too late. And on the dining table tonight, let's even use these own numbers. 6 young people have died. Those dining tables are going to have 6 people missing, if at all they have dining tables, right? So my instant reaction is this. The president remained obstinate, watching people being butchered and killed just to do what he would have done weeks ago.
I like that.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Kenny, we love you, man. But let me ask you, brother, finally, timeline. What are you feeling? What are you sensing?
So naturally, what usually happens is if a bill falls on the floor of Parliament, it has 6 months to come back. Yesterday, you and I said this.
Yeah.
Finance Bill 2022-2023 proceeded until such a time the government was ready, right?
Bas.
Because there's a lot of pushback and forth with the Senate and the National Assembly.
Yes.
There was nothing that was impossible doing that. Now, the timelines are this. Back to the drawing board. And they have to develop a new finance bill within the next 6 months, right? To put that finance bill before Parliament, before people, public participation. Already people have told them what they want. So that's the easy part. They'll only need to be ratifying
Bas.
what the people said if it's in that bill, right?
Yes.
The concession was not enough, Edwin. That's why everything happened the way they've happened, right? So right now, 6 months, they can take back a finance bill in Parliament. In the meantime, the president, as he says, he wants to have a conversation with his sons and daughters, right? So this conversation is okay. That the question that everyone is asking tonight, did we have to lose the number of lives we lost for the president to do what he has done today? It was senseless. It was unreasonable. It was immoral. It was not supposed to happen. Speaking as Kenyans, it was not supposed to happen. The president would have it. And Kwach, you know the most interesting thing? The president stood there as a statesman to speak, and people are clapping and applauding behind him. The same people who probably have held the presidency captive because wanasemanga ni wale watu nyuma yake, right?
Yes.
So those people behind the president, they are the ones who are applauding, unfortunately, and clapping, right?
Yes.
So let's see what the conversation progresses to moving to tomorrow. But I think he's done what he should have done 2 weeks ago, and Kenya would have been at a better place today. But the good thing with this is that we know Kenyans can speak and their leaders will listen to them. Before the president did it, you know, at 5:30 in the next 1 hour or so, we're having a press conference from Mombasa with the deputy president. Yes, there's a press conference from Mombasa. Look at what has been cut, what has been removed. Those are the things that Kwach yesterday you and I were talking about. Kenyans want to understand what is this confidential vote. Kenyans want to understand why you're traveling with 12 billion locally and to do 4 billion internationally. What is this renovation thing, right?
Yeah.
What is this? What are you telling? And those are the exact things the president has done. So even the concessions that were given in the 20 or so clusters that had been amended, that yesterday was approved by that parliament. If I was the president, I would have thrown those guys under the bus. You know how?
How, brother?
If the president returned this thing to Parliament, this bill to Parliament, and the members of Parliament, you will simply tell them, that's
my point.
What I've done, and then approve it. And then I'll throw them under the bus because they are the problem. They are elected representatives of the people before this thing goes to the presidency. The problem was with Parliament, not even the president to begin with. He only needed to do what he has done. So I would have thrown those guys under the bus. But with what has happened now, I think let's listen to the conversation to steer ground in Nasemanini. The young people who wanted blood, they have received blood. And as much as there should be celebration, I think the question tonight is what happened. What do you mean as a president? And I'll ask these questions tonight. I have a show tonight, Edward.
Right.
What do you mean when you say there shall be a mechanism to account for them? What are you going to do? These guys are dead. Shot by sniper rifles. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to say? These are the questions I am angry because I lost a friend. I just discovered there's a friend I lost in that thing. Whatever happened yesterday. So the president should have saved Kenyans what happened today by doing this 2 weeks ago, Kwach. And Kenya would have been at a good place. But the conversation begins right now. Let's wait for 6 months. We see Kimani Kuri and his team and the rest of the people. But remember, this is a law-making process.
Yes.
It has to come from the treasury.
Yes.
It has to go to parliament and all those things. Let's see what happens if in 6 months they'll come back with a better proposal that when it's presented to the people and this robust debate, by the way, kudos to the media, because apart from, if the media did not highlight these silent clauses, we would have never known this is happening.
Can you imagine? Yes.
Media has done really well. So let's wait and see, and then again, Chambua, what they'll bring up and see if it works for Kenyans. But now the question is, anyway, I'll leave it at that. But I think what has happened, a little too late. He's given these young people a little blood they wanted. Let's see the conversation that proceeds from today on. But what happened just a while ago should have happened weeks ago. Kenyans will be at a better place. Ask yourself, when these guys are going to get buried and the youth, the young people are going to be in those burials, right?
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. You know what? And you know what? He's clearly getting ready because you'll find him tonight on KTN
News.
All right. And from 9 onwards, it's our very own Ken Mujungu. Ken, thank you for diluting it and dissecting it. You made it so good, man. That's very clear, my brother. So let's join Ken at who are your guests tonight, brother?
I am speaking to the civil society. I'm speaking to the Law Society of Kenya. Senator Sige is coming. We're speaking from the Wananchi perspective. So we're talking to the Wananchi. We're speaking to the civil society. Unfortunately, we're not able to get the government side because of what's happening.
Yeah.
So the National Commission of Human Rights are going to be there tonight. Parliament is going to be there tonight. Kenya representative is going to be there tonight. So we basically have everyone who's going to speak. That's Dr. Fred Ogola is going to be there. Crystal Asige is going to be there too. I'm forgetting the 2 other names. But yes, we'll share the poster shortly so Kenyans can know who's going to be on the show.
Thank you so very much. Our very own
Ken Mijungu.
You got to love it. Thanks, Kenny. Have a good one, my brother. We'll see you soon. 0719-012-600. All right. Let's talk to you. All right. So now there we have it. So, Esquire, you heard what Wakili said. Your thoughts? You wanted to ask a question, Lorc?
I haven't forgotten what I wanted to ask, but about the speech, you notice that he began the speech telling us what they have been saying when we were telling them reject the bill, saying, oh, we wanted to hire 40,000 new teachers. And I'm like, but the teachers that retire every other year. I would assume that when somebody retires, somebody replaces them. Anyway, he goes on to list, and at some point he lists that there was 50 million shillings for the last mile connectivity. 50 million shillings only. This is part of the reasons why they were forcing this bill down the Kenyan throat. However, renovations are up to 1 billion shillings. Surely, if you were just to be sensible, won't you have done this way before even we go to the point of where you're forcing this on Kenya?
Before we get back to Esquire, was he not being sensible? What do you think? Get on there.
SpiceFM KE on X, Facebook and Instagram.
And then let's talk on the Guinea.
Yes, 0719-012-600.
Let's talk to you, SpiceFM. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Thomas.
Hi, Thomas.
I'm a history teacher, and I would like to add up to your discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A historian, I want first to say that the president has failed us.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing, I'm a person living with disability.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't wish any other person, be it my brother, be it my sister, to be involved in crashes like you saw yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And losing a leg, losing a hand, or even an eye like myself.
Mm-hmm.
So these politicians need to swallow their pride sometimes, because as your guest is saying there, this pronunciation that the president has made today is something he would have made 2 or 3 weeks ago and tell his members of parliament to lower their pride and listen to the Mwananchi. And another thing, I know you can see, but myself I cannot see, but there are some applications that we use to analyze what you're doing. If you are very keen on this journalist from TV47, there is a question he raised to the president, and when he raised the question to the president, if you look at the members of the parliament who are seated behind the president, they showed facial expression like they want to swallow that journalist. You know, we have politicians and members of parliament who are misleading the president. They are not ready to tell the president the truth of the matter, the truth of the ground. I have seen their facial expression through an application on my mobile phone, and they were like they wanted to swallow that journalist. In fact, I think it's the president who has tried to calm the attention. So I think we are having the wrong members of parliament who are not educated, who are not ready to listen to Mwananchi. And do you remember, there's a Mount Kenya member of parliament who said that we Mwananchi did not elect him. We elected a political party. So
let me ask you something. Do you know anyone now in this day and age who will agree that they voted for him?
Sorry?
Do you know anyone in this day and age who will agree they voted for him? That's not a politician.
Myself, I would agree. I voted for UDA.
I didn't ask you which party did you vote for him.
I would agree. I voted for a member of parliament, not because he was.
Baba, you see now, now we're going downriver. We're going downriver. But listen, thank you. Keep it spice. Let me talk to you, Ali. You've been on the phone for a second, a long time. Habari za pwani kaka?
Mzuri sana, habari ya wewe, Jack?
Tupo. Ati Jack ni nani?
Salama.
Ni Kwach.
Kwach. Sorry, Kwach.
Ali.
Sasa Kwach.
Hey.
I'm of an opinion very different from all of those who have been contributing.
Talk to me.
Okay. I applaud the president for saying to withdraw the bill. I applaud the president for telling us to go and help him manage the country by preparing a good budget. I applaud the president for saying that the MPs have done the better part by voting it. I applaud the president for saying the citizens have said no to the bill. And I applaud the president now for being an inclusive person. Now it is us, the millennium, the Gen Z, and whoever it is on that street, to go down and start not sleeping, burn the candle, make sure within the next 14 days, we have already given him a proposal that is legible and preferable to all Kenyans and the government itself, so that the MPs can go in parliament and pass that bill and make a law for our country to continue. I think you have asked the lawyer over there, what next? Appropriation bills or whatever? No, we should do not look for what next.
Ali, kaka.
Yes.
No, kwa hapo kwa pedestal kiasi, lakini je nikuulize, you're saying you appreciate the president for doing what? Actually,
for withdrawing the bill.
But he's not doing us a favor. No, you say for listening to Kenyans. You started there, then I let you go on. But has he done the country a favor?
He has listened to the Kenya at the right time. If he didn't listen at the first time, at the end of the time, he has listened to Kenya. Did he make a mistake to listen to us at the last minute too?
No, he did make a mistake listening to us at the last time. But
Yes.
don't you think he should have listened when we started speaking?
What if nobody has told him to listen to us at the beginning, at the middle, at almost 75% of that process?
Ali, I love your passion. But again, like somebody said, and If you have to be told and you're in that position to listen,
yes,
there's a problem with our communication strategy. I was about to say something.
Exactly, but I will tell you something.
Yes.
No leader doesn't have advisors apart from those who are known by the people outside. Deep inside himself, he has an inner cabinet that helps him manage his position, whether it's within the house, nyumbani kwako, Kwach, or kwa community, or kwa county, or kwa ward, or whatever. You have other leaders who are helping you lead that particular community.
So who do we listen to as a community, Baba?
We live in the community yetu sisi wenyewe. Pengine mimi ni mmoja nilikuwa advisor wa rais na nikakataa kumwambia maneno ya kuwa huko kwenye ground huko.
Ali, unajua sitaki tuongee sana juu hii story, but unajua ukiongea hivyo, and you know you speak with a lot of passion and a lot of sense as well. But then naona viongozi wa
solution.
Hold on, Baba. Watch
all of us.
Endelea, Ali. I think Ali has dropped his phone.
Hello.
Yeah. Sesema, Baba.
Let me give you a solution. I think it's all of us now to come together with the president and make a bill for our country. Let's not wait like other people who have waited to make things work. We need that bill done within 14 days. Those suggestions to Konazo. So, at the end of 21st day, that bill has to be signed.
Safia. So your suggestion is, Ali, ile ya mwisho unasema
14 days we have to give him a new finance bill.
To rudi kwa ground, public participation. Safi.
We need only spectacular people, yani intellectuals, anybody who is there that can give it within 14 days, not beyond 14 days.
Safi, Baba. Asante sana.
And help the president manage our country.
Thank you, Baba. Give it spice. All right. Paul, good evening.
Good evening, Jakababa.
How are you doing, brother?
I'm very fine, thank you. Sorry. So
14 days.
No. I wouldn't go that route. First thing first, on the speech of the president. The president, I'm sorry to say this, but the president goofed by the first statement that he made yesterday. And the statement that is made today looks not so real. It looks fake. Nobody trusts him. He will not. I doubt if he's really genuine with what he's saying, because if he really meant what he's saying now, I mean, this guy has been there for the last 1 year and a half. What austerity measures has been done? Nothing. Just a minute. Mr. Kwach. For the last 1 year, we've seen serious wastages. And yesterday I told you that we can survive without borrowing, but only if we sit down and do house cleaning first and look at the things that we are using money on and put our priorities first. Okay? And he never did that in the last 1 year and a half. Okay? So there is no transparency at all.
Okay, so Paul.
Yeah.
You know when you put all these political parties together, all right?
Yes.
Wale watu wa pwani kina Kingi, then you give him speaker, all right? And then as we were talking the other day, your allocation last year was 35 million on this one.
Yes.
Now make it 250 on this one. Because we're literally coming to the halfway cycle, yeah? Because come 2025, then we start thinking about elections. And elections cost money, Paul.
Yes.
But he has got 14 days. And Wakil is here listening to you. Now, in the next 14 days, Polo, don't say what we could have done last year and last year but one. Wachana your story, Baba. This is a yearly process.
Remember yesterday, Ken told us something. Ken told us that we don't start from zero when you're starting a new financial year. We're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to see, okay, tumetumia nini, imebaki nini. What do we add here? What do we reallocate? What do we rebudget?
No, but
for us, the biggest problem, and yesterday Ken talked about this very, very clearly, is the fact that we have a problem. We actually have a budgeted corruption.
Yeah, but that's the point, brother.
Yeah. So first,
but let us be clear, bro.
Yeah.
It did start with Ruto. It's in every administration, every regime, and like
stop with him.
It will never stop.
It can stop with him.
Polo, and you, my brother, Tello.
It can stop with him if he wants to. What did Kibaki do?
Mm-hmm. What did Kibaki do, Paul?
Kibaki sat down, looked for expatriates, people who know things that can be done to the economy, sat them down, put the lineup. Hii ndio nataka ifanyike. By 2020, by 2002, Kenya was ranked among the countries that are very, very comfortable and happy.
But Kibaki came in 2002, and when he says, you see, the thing is, most people don't start from zero, and that's what he's talking about. You know, when you talk about recurrent expenditure, you talk about appropriation bill, yeah? Mm-hmm. If it was 305 shillings, yeah? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then when it comes to the end of the financial year, you want to increase on 305 vis-a-vis starting from zero.
Yeah.
And by the way, and when you talk about Emilio Stanley Mwai, the Makerere, Baba, but even we can talk about people of, remember there was a Goldenberg, there was not Goldenberg, Anglo leasing. Yeah. We have a certain veterinarian who was doing internal security at that particular point in time, who was sweating a lot and got up to a lot of trouble. Remember him? No names mentioned. Okay.
No names mentioned. Yeah.
So what would you change in the next 14 days, Papa?
First, the President, His Excellency, should sit down, sack people. First, starting from the Speaker. Sack his advisors. Fukuza watu waende nyumbani. He'll advise him. Yeah, they've made him to look like a fool in front of the whole 55 million people. Sack those niggas. Sack them. Remove them. Look for people who know how to run economies like Kenya. And these people are there. Inside here. Theater Mbali, Dr. Kwach. Up and down. Most of them are here. So there needs to be heads rolling in that in the executive.
So that
people need to go home fast in the next 14 days. People need to go home. That's the bottom line. Akishafanya hivyo, then atapata mwelekeo. Without that, he's still going back to mess up this whole thing. I promise you.
Love and respect.
Going to mess up this thing.
Love and respect. We'll see you on Saturday, man. We're coming down.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, keep it spice. John.
Hello. Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
You've got 14 days, John. What would you change?
Yeah. Now, first and foremost, I'm happy with the president's speech.
Mm-hmm.
And now, my observation, Mr. Kwach, is this. Our president...
All right, 0719012600. And Esquire, you have listened to sentiment.
First of all, this 14 days is his opinion, is his own deadline, yes? It's not a thing in law, yes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is there any... No, but there's a timeline. And we said, no, we cannot live in a vacuum. Let's take two final calls. Hello, Spice. Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
All right. Now there's you've got to zima your radio, please, Baba.
I have.
Right, and take us off speaker, my brother.
A second, okay? Can
Very
you hear
good.
me clearly
So
now?
to whom are we speaking with?
This is Abdul Rahman.
Abdul Rahman.
Yes, sir.
Haya, unatupigia kutoka wapi kaka?
Niko hapa Nairobi, bro.
Haya, maoni
ni kwamba I think the president has got it wrong from day one when he was elected, when he was sworn in. His government told the citizens what they wanted to hear. It's not that Kenyans angry started just now. Kenyans were angry when Uhuru Kenyatta was president and towards the later stages of his presidency. He told them what they needed to hear at that time, and then when he came in, he just continued pressing on the pedestal and just doing what that previous government, which he was part of also, keep on doing. And now that anger has burst, and now he's wandering. So I think the amount of arrogance and opulence in which he operates in and his administration operates in needs to come down.
Okay.
So in terms of the finance bill, I don't think that this issue that we're going to be on crisis because I think we've been collecting money using the 2023 Finance Act. With this bill, we were increasing it by 346 billion. We can do away, I think more than that is stolen on a daily basis in this country.
Mm-hmm. As somebody very eloquently put it, the Wakili. You're here. There's stolen and disappears. I don't know. I don't know if it's the same WhatsApp group. So let me ask you something, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And Esquire is here.
Yeah.
What, by the way, Wakili, and this one I really want to know from you, because people talk, the main thing is corruption. Why is the EACC, Esquire, such a toothless bulldog? Why can they not prosecute anything? And you guys, as members of the LSK, why aren't you holding them to account that surely? Why are all of these cases being dropped? And if it's not them, DPP. What's going on? That's why there's impunity. Ama namna gani kaka?
Yeah, you see, these officers have been created the people, we have a country in which instead of we're supposed to have eventually like 4 arms of government, the legislative, the executive, the judiciary, and the 4th arm was supposed to be the independent institutions who are supposed to operate independently. But now we have a country where everybody thinks they report to the executive. The parliament is afraid of the president. The judiciary is afraid of the president. Where do citizens go? Right now you saw people who are seated behind the president apparently supposed to represent the citizens clapping when he said that he pulled down the finance bill. Seriously. Okay. The people are supposed to rely on Parliament to do the right thing. It doesn't have to get there.
So in 14 days, what would you change? What would you do?
Okay, in 14 days, there are a lot of things to be done in this country. Just cut down expenditure. We don't have a revenue problem in Kenya. We have an expenditure problem.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Cut down your clothes, yeah.
Thank you, brother. 0719012600. Esquire.
Yes, if I was given 14 days.
Yes.
As a Kenyan citizen, I would go and recall my MP. Because it's there. There's a provision under the Constitution that allows us to recall the MPs who are clapping and who did not listen to us during the process. And
now stop. That is actually the CNN breaking news of today.
Mm-hmm.
He has given us. He gave us a timeline.
Yeah.
Did he not?
Who?
The president.
No, he didn't give a timeline.
So, but we are.
But there is we're going to have a conversation. It's open
by the Constitution,
right?
There's no commitment.
Yeah.
Right. So now that it has gone back, what Esquire is telling you?
Yeah.
You as a citizen, you're busy. You're upset. You're nanning, and you're blaming it all on the president.
Yes.
He's the executive.
Mm-hmm.
This all lies in the legislature. So this is where it starts. You do what?
Recall everyone.
Start. Not everyone. You can't recall everyone.
Yeah.
Start
your MP.
the process of recalling your member of parliament. So now the question you should be calling to ask is, how indeed exactly do you do the same?
Yes.
Don't. He's here. How do you do that, by the way, Wakili?
Well, Article 104 of the Constitution provides that electorates can, under Article 97, 98, have a right to recall a member of parliament.
How do you start that?
And how you start that, you collect signatures.
How many?
You will need to collect at least 30% of your registered voters. Equivalent of 30%. So if Nairobi, we have the 5 million voters registered.
Okay,
voters.
there now we're going for governor.
I'm
talking about now in Dago.
We have...
In Langata. Where
so say 50,000.
Let's say 50,000.
Yes.
So 30% of 50,000 is what?
I like about 20 Gs.
So collect that, then you petition And after verification of his signatures by IEBC, you petition IEBC to remove or to recall this member of parliament.
So I don't need to go through Bunge
you don't have
to recall this member of parliament.
No.
Now, IEBC, those commissioners, you chairs, whatever the hell they were, are they fully constituted? Can we have an election here anywhere in Kenya right now?
At the moment, no.
At the moment, no. And I think this is
that's part of the plan. That's why they know.
It's a plan. It's intentional.
Yes, that's why. So the MPs know they can do whatever the hell they damn want.
Yeah.
Because you cannot recall me.
That's why
the law says A, we can't do B.
And that's why members of this great country or the citizens of this country are leaning on Article 1 of our Constitution, their supremacy. And because they have seen what the previous caller has said about the president getting hold of everyone answering straight to him.
Yes.
That's why that's a frustration. But if he could allow, for example, tomorrow he goes ahead and says, you know what, IBC reconstitute. Can we have directions on that? Secondly, he says, you guys raise the issue of corruption because Kenyans have spoken and said the government is corrupt. So he has already heard. He knows. I would expect today's speech, I would have expected him to say, okay, he has withdrawn the bill. Secondly, I am going to actually demote this cabinet that I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That
economic advisors.
Give economic advisors, give specific figures and timelines. He just said, you know, the issue to do with renovations, hospitality, reducing the expenditure, etc. Give figures and say, from today, as executive, we are not going to spend more than 1 billion shillings. Or, as you know, give specific figures and say, judiciary, okay, we are going to be at par. All of us, we are going to fight corruption. And today I am empowering what you've just asked, EACC. Please present a report on these issues. That's what I would have expected the president to do.
Let me ask you something, Wakili. Who has won here? As Kenya won, I think the country is lost.
This loss. Where there is a single life, not even the 6 that he's aware of. Just one life. I see in the Western countries, the Western media, where one person dies, it's a national news item. In Kenya, I don't know whether we value life. I don't think we are serious. The president and the presidency is serious. Because this would have been such a serious crisis.
Sorry, you've actually brought in. You've actually brought, and I know you've but I know you've got, but Lorc. You saw what happened last night in Githurai.
Yeah.
And the point is, what happened last night in Githurai for the uninitiated?
For the uninitiated, yesterday there was reports of massive and mass shootings in Githurai all the way to Juja, and this was happening in the night. The reports say that it was 1, unprecedented, and 2, uncontrolled, that it wasn't aimed at anybody. Now, there are photos that we are able to see that were coming from Githurai of bodies that have several bullets in them.
Very well.
Kwach.
Now, you shoot, you pick up, and you just disappear.
Kwach.
Yes.
That happened at night when they switched off the internet.
Yes.
Can we talk about what happened during the day as I was watching KTN?
Right.
And outside Parliament building, we saw.
So this is what I want to ask you. So for families affected, what's the legal recourse?
It's unfortunate. And the legal recourse, of course, we'll go to court. We'll sue the AGM. The AG, sorry.
No, where does one start as a affected family member of a deceased person?
So make a report to IPO.
Where's IPO?
IPO, Police Oversight
Authority, IPO.
IPO. So make your report there. And even as
Sorry,
we make
Baba,
the report-
is IPOA a building or it's a website?
No, it's an institution.
Okay, yeah, but where? You know, it's like, tell me, go to Nyayo House. You see what I'm saying?
They have an office.
Yeah, where is
IPOA
it?
has an office. So you need to go to IPOA. And
Talk to me like I'm old school, yeah? As a parent. You know,
I'll
it's
give
like,
you the actual details.
my father's
I'll tell you.
listening. You know, you guys say, go to IPOA. Allah, what is that? What are you talking?
IPOA is, is
Tell me, go to the airport. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The Independent Policing and Oversight Authority.
Yeah, we know what it is. Where is it located?
At the SEK Garden Annex, First Ngong Avenue.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nairobi.
Now you've
So
given me a
once
location.
there's that report.
Yeah.
Because of the use of force and the illegal shootings.
Bas.
But on the other hand, you can file a case, a constitutional petition suing the government of this country.
So I come to my lawyer, I come to Ngugi and Borough Advocates, I'm like, Eliud Ngugi?
You come to a lawyer or you go to, we have all these Kituo cha Sheria, we have all these other bodies who are willing, if you don't even have a capacity financially to do it, they are independent legal bodies that are willing to take these matters pro bono.
I'm sitting from you across the other side of the desk. What am I? I'm telling you, my brother Lorc died. Mm-hmm. I'm pissed. Help me get peace. What am I telling you? And what am I looking for?
So what I will need is evidence which is out there. And so when you come to me and I'll ask you what evidence do you have. We have the police abstract. We have documents from the morgue. We have witnesses who can swear these affidavits. And we have a P3s which are issued. The postmortem report where the bullet has been picked from that body. It has a serial number. It can be traced back to a certain police station.
What am I suing for?
So you are suing for damages. And it's so painful because, you see, even as we have this conversation, we can't return this life. Even as we go after the Attorney General of this country, the government of Kenya, and we say that a life was lost, we cannot recover this life. In Parliament, we saw on the screen.
Yes.
Outside Parliament premises.
That's why I was going to ask you the other one.
People being shot live on camera.
Okay, so now you told me what to do with the deceased. Mm-hmm. There are those now who are visiting house in a hospital. The injured.
You see, this is something they had not planned for.
Mm.
We woke up yesterday, and some of these people, for example, those ones who got shot in Kavirai, they're on their way home. I've seen videos of people who were running away parallel from the main road, from Thika Road.
I saw that, yeah.
And they would have caught the bullets from just those.
Yes.
I've seen a story about a mama mboga who was closing her shop.
Yeah.
And she was shot. And so you are going on with your life. Now you have to incur a hospital bill.
There we go.
You have to, maybe this has paralyzed you for life. You will not be able to make a living.
Yes.
And so the government needs to, before we even have this conversation, the president today would have started by either admitting, I don't know what the police have to say about this, but we need to have reports coming out and for them saying we used fire. This is the reason why we did what we did.
Okay, but Esquire, you know that they won't.
Sorry.
So then you know that they won't. But this person is injured and is lying in, not in Kenyatta, in Nairobi West Hospital. The bill is incurring every day. How do I get that sorted?
So only through the court system.
Wow.
Only through suing the government that we are able to maybe recoup. Because the hospital may not